Doesn't matter if you've been playing disc golf for a few weeks or a few years, you're probably in the market to buy more discs. I know that a couple years ago when I started playing more, I got into it and I went from owning 3 discs to owning, 20 some discs. As I was expanding my collection, I was trying to do so in as cost effective as way possible, while also finding discs that fit my play style. I wasn't someone that could, pull off a speed 14 throw. I didn't have the maximum arm speed. Most people early on playing and even years into playing won't have that. So I was kind of experimenting with a lot of discs, and I was able to do that because of a few different cheap ways I was buying them. I found that while I could borrow a friend's disc for a few throws, I really needed a few complete rounds with the disc to kind of get an idea of if it was something that would work for me or not, or where it may fit into my bag. So I'm going to cover really 4 different ways you can acquire discs at low prices. And I'm going to start with the most obvious one, and that's just to buy used discs. The reason why I like doing this is because, of course, I know it may be a disc I might end up not liking. I know that I may lose it. That's definitely a possibility in the wooded courses we have here in Minnesota. So I like to buy used discs for the fact that I can get a pretty good disc probably at minimal input cost, and I usually do this at my local Play It Again Sports. So that or other used sporting goods stores are good places to look if you don't have a dedicated disc golf store in your area, because usually those also have a wide selection of used discs. But the other option to kind of get them around really the same price you'll get them used is to buy misprints instead. Now, misprints or the Innova Factory Second discs, these are actually new discs. They've never been thrown. There's something wrong with them. Usually the print is just an absolute disaster. Maybe it got printed on multiple times or it got the wrong stamp put on it. So cosmetically, it looks terrible in terms of what's printed on it, but it has, a nice smooth edge. Again, it's never been thrown. And with the F2 discs from Innova, usually they just have an F2 stamp on it, and that indicates there's some sort of cosmetic defect that isn't print related, but maybe it's got a rough spot on the top or something like that. I know I've picked some up that way. I really don't find that to change the disc's flight at all, so I highly recommend the F2 discs as well, because usually it's kind of even difficult to find the cosmetic defect if you're a newer player, so you probably won't even notice. So I think those are the 2 most obvious ways to get your hands on some cheap discs. But I want to delve into 2 other methods I've used to get discs at relatively cheap costs, oftentimes around $5 only, and that's to buy tournament stamped discs. These, for whatever reason, people normally don't want. I think it's really cool to have a disc that's stamped the tournament from a different state, oftentimes a state I've never even personally been to. And I think that that's something that's really cool, and it's allowed me to get a lot of good deals. So you'll find these discs on eBay. They've got a stamp on from a tournament, say 3 years ago. It's never been thrown or hardly ever been thrown. And for whatever reason, people traditionally do not want to use discs with tournament stamps on. You can also find them on a Facebook page or Facebook group, I guess it would be, that I'll have linked down in the description. That's called Dollar Disc Golf Auctions. So with Dollar Disc Golf Auctions, basically it's the same way people sell LuLaRoe, if you're familiar with the legging or clothing company. So basically somebody posts up a disc, then people comment bids, or in some cases they can comment a buy now price, and they can purchase the disc through PayPal, through Facebook, just kind of in a loose comment system. And you'd think that something that's ran so loose wouldn't work, you'd get scammed. I've never had an issue with Dollar Disc Golf Auctions. I think they do a very, very good job administering the group and keeping anybody that is doing anything shady out of the group. So I've had a great experience with that, and there's no seller fees, and you're really just sending people money through PayPal, friends and family. It works out great for both parties, and they're able to send you the discs. So typically, since you're bidding on those, a lot of people will put up nice discs, collectible discs, where they're looking to charge upwards of $40 for them. It's a collectible thing, and they will get some very high bids on there. But sometimes people will post just regular discs on there. Like I bought a Discraft Z drone that had like somebody's name written on it, scribbled out, and it was in pretty good condition, but it just looked used, and I paid like $6 for it, and the prices that you're bidding actually include the shipping. So like I got that for $6 because the people in the group for the most part are in the group because they're interested in these, more collectible discs or more specialized discs that are harder to find. Something like that wasn't going to catch as big of a price. I also bought a titanium buzz, so a very durable buzz that I've used for years, in the group for $5 because it had a tournament stamp on from like a disc golf club in Chattanooga or something. Nowhere around me, nowhere I've ever been, and now I own a titanium buzz with their stamp on. I think it's really cool, and again, the majority of the people in the group aren't into buying that kind of stuff, but people do try to sell those types of discs there, so I think there's a lot of opportunity to buy discs for less than $10 with free shipping in that group if you keep your eyes peeled and you're patient about it. And the last one I want to go into is lightning discs. There's a lot of controversy over Lightning whenever I talk about how I do like some Lightning discs. Now, Lightning is a brand that you may not have heard of. It's a small brand, actually was based out of Minnesota. I'm not even entirely sure that they're still making very many molds or still in business, but I can tell you they have a huge amount of inventory still sitting out there unpurchased if they're not even making any more discs. Lightning discs are widely available at very cheap prices, oftentimes through Gotta Go, Gotta Throw, which is another Minnesota-based company that it seems like has for some reason acquired the majority of their inventory if they're no longer making any. And again, I don't know that, but Gotta Go, Gotta Throw sells a lot of these Lightning discs either through their website or through their eBay page. And I know that oftentimes I pay like $2.50, $3, maybe $3.50 for a Lightning disc. My favorite is the MX1. And what I actually use this disc as is kind of just a throwaway driver. So when you're buying a disc for $2.50, $3, maybe $3.50, I have the opportunity normally when they're open to go to Gotta Throw in person here in Minnesota, so I don't have to pay shipping. But even if you're buying a few of them, maybe you can get free shipping. When you're talking about spending like $3 on a disc, I feel like it's kind of disposable to an extent. So it's a disc that I'll throw on riskier shots where I don't know if I'm going to come back up with the disc if I have a bad placement. And it's a pretty trustworthy disc though as far as it flies, so I picked up with that as my intention. And the MX1 is something that I've always kept in my bag now since because it actually flies pretty well. They have other discs obviously too. It's just a brand that makes discs that are kind of along the lines of a DX disc. They're not super durable necessarily, and people usually refer to Lightning discs as old style disc golf discs just because of the blend of the material they're using, and the stamps they're using aren't anything flashy that's printed on them. It's nothing really too cool, but definitely a company I think worth checking out their discs if you're trying to buy them on a budget and just kind of get something in your bag that's almost disposable to an extent, if you would end up losing it or whatnot, and something that in the case of the MX1 I think flies pretty well. So thank you guys for watching. I'm Bailey, and I'll see you in the next video.